Hello, everyone. Despite your very busy schedule, you accepted my invitation to be here in this forum, Aquaculture on the Move, on this very important address from our eminent speakers. As the Managing Director of Innovista Feeding Solutions, I, Dr. Shekhar Basak, am proud to welcome you all. I take this opportunity to introduce you all to our keynote speakers of the day. Our first speaker of the forum, Aquaculture on the Move, is Dr. A.Ravi Kumar. Doctor, you are an aquaculture consultant with 26 years of experience in various aspects of aquaculture. You have a master's degree in aquaculture and PhD in shrimp pathology. You have founded the prestigious Ravi Aqua Academy, and you are also a partner in Alpha Biologicals, a fish and shrimp disease diagnostic laboratory in Nellore, and also partner in Blue Star Marine Shrimp Hatchery. You conduct field trials on aquaculture chemicals and feed supplements. You are consultant to several hatcheries and shrimp nurseries and routinely conduct training programs on various aspects of aquaculture in India, Bangladesh, and Iran. You have taken the help of social media like YouTube to reach out to overseas audience on aquaculture technology. Our next speaker is Dr. Manoj Sharma. In the galaxy of domestic and international corporate leaders in the aqua industry, you are an icon and famous all over the region, Dr. Manoj Sharma. You are the Managing Director of Messrs. Mayank Aquaculture Private Limited for over 12 years now, and you are an example to us all of humility, of entrepreneurship, of innovative spirit, and commitment to the industry and to the country. These four values are also shared here by us at Innovista Feeding Solutions, and indeed, that's our prized position. You have 25 years of experience in the planning and execution of shrimp farms around Surat in the Gujarat province. You have played an important role in the development of sustainable shrimp farming with over 2,000 hectares of farming area, benefiting thousands of rural communities. As technical advisor to the Surat Aquaculture Farmers Association, you have pioneered the concept of satellite shrimp farming that has brought manifold increase in shrimp production in Gujarat. Currently, the group produces 10,000 tons of shrimp annually. You have played a key role in making Surat one of the most successful shrimp producing districts in the west coast of India. You have received the Best BW Shrimp and Fish Farmers Award in 2018 from the National Fisheries Development Board, Hyderabad, and the prestigious India Small Giants Award from the India SME Forum in 2014. Followed in 2015, you received the Best Fish Farmers Award from the Central Institute of Fisheries Education, Mumbai. Dr. Manoj Sharma has a master's degree in fisheries management from the Central Institute of Fisheries Education, Mumbai, and a PhD in fisheries science, shrimp farming from the Swami Ramanand Tirth University, Nanded, Maharashtra. Before you roll out your presentation, I would like to thank again the audience gathered here in such great numbers to listen to you and learn from your experience, which is not any surprise. With this small introduction of our keynote speakers, I would like to welcome Dr. Ravi Kumar to make his very interesting presentation on prevention and control of white fecal syndrome and innovative ways to address this burning issue. And further on, I will myself make a short presentation about Innovista Feeding Solutions, followed by Dr. Manoj Sharma, who will highlight on what next in shrimp farming, showing us all hope and new vistas for profitable farming practices in the aquaculture space, and also share his rich experience. I want to encourage you to raise your queries in the Q&A box. My backup team will connect to the speakers who will address them towards the end of the sessions. I would now like to invite Dr. Ravi Kumar to make his presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, doctor, very clear.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Good morning all. Thank you very much, Innovista and Dr. Shekhar, for this opportunity. I'm really excited to share a digital stage, e-stage with Dr. Manoj. Really excited, Manoj. And there are around 71 participants. How many of you are students? Please type in the comment box, student. How many of you are students? I want to know my audience. How many of you are students?
I'm still your student.
Thank you.
We are all students. We are all students today.
So let me share my screen. Just a moment. So can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Very good. So now I'm going to talk on white feces and EHP. So my presentation is basically on gross signs of white feces. Main focus is on etiology, not much on diagnosis, and I'll also focus on prevention and control measures. So the common gross signs of white feces are white fecal matter floating on the water surface, feeding comes down, technically we call it as anorexia. Sometimes they stop feeding pellet feed and they eat sludge on the pond bottom. Then size variation increases. Poor growth, normally we get around 2 to 3 grams per 7 days every week. In case of EHP and white feces, we get relatively less growth, maybe sometimes even 1 gram per week. Then loose shell, then gradual mortality. These are the common clinical signs. Everybody knows about it. So if you look at this graph I got it from Sharma of Airwalker Technologies. You can see just before white feces onset, feeding growth increases drastically and then comes down. This is yellow represents white gut period. So if you take remedial measures, it slightly go up, but it will not reach the previous 224 kgs. So 224 kgs was the maximum feed consumption. So after white feces, it has come down to 73 kgs. With the remedial measures, it has gone back to 156 kgs and not to 125 kgs, 224 kgs. So the difference is around 70 kgs. So these 70 kgs, you can expect the mortality. So the production goes down. So we have noticed several cases of white feces in hatchery, especially in maturation section. You can have a look at this. This is female broodstock. You can see the white feces. So recently I have visited a hatchery. They told that they have white feces in hatchery. I visited that particular hatchery. I have seen white feces floating on the water surface. Then they told it's white feces is more in the morning and white feces is more in the male tanks. Then I got suspicion. Then I told them, I asked them what feed you are using. They told we are using squid. Naturally, when you are using squid, since squid is white in color, the fecal matter will be white in color. It's natural. So you should be able to distinguish white feces because of that feed or white feces because of disease. Simply what we can do is collect the fecal matter, place it in a beaker of water. If it floats, it is because of disease. If it is not floating, it is not because of disease. It's a simple tip. Then coming to the farm, in the farm, we have noticed white feces on the 14th day. 14th day of stocking. You can see this is a very small juvenile. You can see how long the white fecal stand is there. Then during growth, you can see the fecal matter, white fecal matter in the midgut of the stream. This is the hepatopancreas. So in most of the cases, this white feces is due to the sloughed off cells from the hepatopancreatic cells, hepatopancreatic tubules. So most of the times farmers, what they say is farmers and most of the technicians, even they call it as white gut. In fact, it is not white gut. White gut is different. White fecal matter is different. White fecal matter means fecal matter itself white in color and gut is, you can see the gut very transparent and very small in size. So this is real white fecal matter. And this is white gut. You can see one gut is very big, very thick, white in color. So both are different etiologies. White gut is because of hemocytic infiltration that is caused by the toxins produced by blue-green algae. It was well documented. So both are different problems. White gut is different and white feces is different. And the treatment also differs from white gut to white fecal matter. See, if you do sampling, if you find so many of shrimps with white fecal matter, it's always better to go for harvest. Very difficult to treat if the severity is this much. If one or two shrimps with white fecal matter, you can go for treatment. If several shrimps like this are infected with the white fecal matter, I always suggest the farmer to go for harvest. So this is the size variation. You can see the same. This is around 60 days. You can see 2-gram shrimp as well as 12-gram shrimp. So this is a combination of EHP and white feces. You can get this much of size variation. There are two types. Suppose if the seed that you have purchased, you have sourced from a hatchery is not is EHP free, you get size variation after 45-50 days. If the seed is infected with EHP right from the day one, you get so much of size variation like this. So then it turns to loose shell. After loose shell, it stops feeding. So after, whenever it try to molt, it dies unnoticed. Most of the time, we don't notice mortality, it goes unnoticed. And some cases, all these loose shell shrimps float on the sides of the tank. And during the molting time, they will die. And you can also notice some cases of black gill or brown gill due to delayed molting. So in our lab, we have noticed 3 types of white fecal matters. So white fecal matter is not one type. There are 3 types of white fecal matter. So this is under microscope. If you observe the white fecal matter under microscope, if you find all these cellular debris, you can see nucleus. Clearly it indicates the sloughed off cells from the hepatopancreas. And another type of white feces is mucus type. You can clearly differentiate between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is contains cell debris, so dead cells, and type 2 is mucus type, and this is more prevalent in Andhra Pradesh, and this gives very foul smell. If you smell it, it will be almost similar to hydrogen sulfide smell, indicating some anaerobic reaction, anaerobic bacteria or anaerobic reaction involved in this. And the third type, we call it as ATM. ATM stands for aggregated transformed microvilli. So if you look at this, it looks like a gregarine. If you have a look at this, it looks like a gregarine. So that is why in the initial days, people thought that white feces is caused by gregarines. Gregarine is a protozoan parasite. So they started supplementing, suggesting all these ginger and all. So anti-protozoal products. So in fact, it is not a gregarine, it is a sloughed off cells. It is ATM, aggregated transformed microvilli from the hepatopancreatic tubules of the cells. And scientifically, it was proven that ATM is caused by Vibrio parahemolyticus and Vibrio harvey. So we know that now we know that there are 3 types of white feces and not one type. And our concern is type 2. This particular one is more prevalent in India. Type 1 is also more common in hatcheries and grow-out ponds. It is also related because of Vibrio. So there are 2 white feces because of Vibrio. And third one is the second one is more prevalent in India, which we don't know the exact etiology. So next 8 slides, I'm going to talk on the scientific publications on white feces and on white EHP. So this is the first publication. It was in 2010. It was reported in Penis monodon, enterocytozone hepatopene parasiting on the tiger shrimp. infected by white feces in Vietnam. This was the first publication linking EHP to the white feces. And then this is the second publication. This is the first publication on EHP present in Thailand. EHP was first reported in 2009 in Thailand in Monodon, not in Vietnam. It was first reported in tiger shrimp and not Vietnamese shrimp. They are suspected, they have isolated EHP from a poor growing tiger penis Monodon, and it was published in 2009 in at Elsevier Journal, Aquaculture Journal. And then the second publication is from Thailand again in 2013 by Mahidol University. You can see this Kalia, Timothy Flagel, Chelar Limsuan, all the top scientists are involved in this publication. They published that again EHP is not the causative agent for white feces. The first publication says that EHP is the causative agent for white feces, and the second publication shows that EHP is not the causative agent for white feces. And then I'll tell you an analogy. Suppose, don't feel bad. See, I had whiskey one day with Sprite. I got very good kick. Second day, I had some other rum with a same soda. I got kick. Third day, I had another liquor with the same soda. I got kick. In all the three cases, soda is same. So either soda is giving me the kick, or that alcohol is giving me the kick. So in the same manner, in the same logic, so even white feces etiology was also published. So initially they told it is due to microsporidium, and then the EHP. Then 2013, if you look at this publication, it clearly shows that EHP is not the causative agent. So why it is not the causative agent? Suppose if you say this particular pathogen is responsible for white feces, you should be able to induce white feces in a healthy shrimp by infecting with EHP. They failed it. And then if you look at the next publication, from where this EHP is coming to the aquaculture. So polychaete worms are the feed, live feed that is used for the brood stock in the hatchery. So these polychaete worms are a passive carrier of EHP in shrimp. So each and every hatchery, 100% of the hatcheries, they use polychaetes. If they are using wild polychaetes, there is every possibility of EHP entering into the section, entering into the digestive tract of the shrimp. Once it establishes in the hepatopancreas, it comes out through fecal matter that infects a naupliae or egg or naupliae. So that will be passed on to the post-larvae. So if you look at the next publication, this publication, effect of salinity on EHP, what it says is at high salinity, EHP impact is more than at low salinity. That is why where the high salinity areas, for example, if you take Andhra Pradesh, Nellore, and Prakasam districts, most of the farms are saltwater based, like creek based. There the culture is not, they're not getting good crop. If you go to the east, west, and Krishna districts, they're getting relatively better growth in spite of EHP positive cases. And then if you look at the next publication, so we know that EHP has some impact on growth. So how to eradicate it from aquaculture systems. So this is on a publication on polar tube extrusion, how to inactivate EHP spores from your system. So initially what they told was, what we were told was, you apply 6 tons of burnt lime per hectare of per hectare. So then the pH increases beyond 12, then it gets inactivated automatically. So latest publication, this publication is from 2018. What it shows is there are 3 chemicals are working to inactivate EHP spore. So we will discuss in detail. So then one more publication from China, it shows that Vibrio cholerae is the causative agent for white feces. So initially people thought it is EHP, the causative agent for white feces. Then publication shows that Vibrio is the reason for white feces. So this is this publication clearly shows that white feces type 1, I mean ATM, aggregated transformed microvilli, is because of Vibrio, especially that causes EMS disease in Thailand. And if you look at this, this is a post-larvae affected with Vibrio horrivae, luminescent vibriosis. You can see all these white balls. They call as bolitas blancas technically. All these are called as bolitas blancas. These are the sloughed off cells from the hepatopancreas. The similar pathology that destructs the hepatopancreas and sloughed off cells from the hepatopancreas come to the midgut as white balls known as bolitas blancas. It's a similar pathology. Then this is the latest publication. I got it from Aringoran's Arizona University presentation. Have a look at this. Primary enteric pathogen is EHP, opportunistic vibriosis, and some unknown factors. So they are not clearly mentioned again. EHP is the causative agent for white feces. They told some unknown pathogens are involved. So what are those unknown pathogens? So this is another presentation from Thailand again, and it's in the manuscript. So they have identified a new anaerobic bacterium. This is called propionogenium. Propionogenium. This is the anaerobic bacterium. We cannot culture anaerobic bacteria like our Vibrio or Aeromonas. We need an anaerobic jar. We should be able to create anaerobic conditions. So with this bacterium plus EHP, they are able to reproduce the disease. So initially they told EHP, they failed to reproduce the disease by infecting a healthy shrimp. Then some scientists from Vietnam, they told they have identified a Vibrio species that is responsible for white feces. So they again tried reinfection studies, they failed it again. But this particular bacterium, they are able to reproduce the disease. That means they're able to prove that this particular bacterium is responsible for white feces. We call it as Cox postulates. So now we have some clarity on etiology. So we know that Vibrio is there. Vibrio is a natural flora. We cannot avoid it. So Vibrio plus EHP plus anaerobic bacteria together, it causes white feces. It was almost, it's about to publish. So now how to go about it? We know that Vibrio, we cannot avoid Vibrio. We have to live with Vibrio. If you are stocking seed means you are stocking Vibrio also. Vibrio is an intercellular pathogen. EHP is an intracellular pathogen. It lives inside the cytoplasm of the cell. And one more, another suspected factor is anti-nutritional factors that are present in feed. In the beginning, most of the feed plants, they are using around 40% fish meal. Now drastically it has come down. Even some companies are using 5%. They replaced with vegetable protein like soya, and soya contains anti-nutritional factors which are also triggering white feces. There was another scientist from Thailand. He has scientifically proven that by increasing the fish meal in the feed, they're able to effectively prevent white feces. So now we have some clarity on the etiology of the white feces. Then how to go about it? Then we know that broodstock feed, we know that live feeds, it's coming through polychaetes. And there are some reports stating that Artemia biomass is also EHP positive. So better to avoid these two feeds than go for SPF, specific pathogen-free polychaetes, or you can also inactivate EHP spores in the polychaetes by freezing it at -20 degrees or by pasteurizing it. So you can inactivate the spore. This was the first test conducted in my lab in 2015, 4/10/2015. I tested 8 samples. All the 8 samples were positive for EHP. So it shows that for the last 7 years, EHP is there in India. So this is the EHP microscopic picture under microscope. So if the shrimp is not growing well, we can observe the hepatopancreas wet mount under microscope. If you find spores like this, we can suggest the farmer to go for harvest. There is no treatment available for white feces. So now we know that we identified a few reasons for white feces. So then how to prevent it? So you know that Vibrio is the natural flora. We cannot avoid it. So we have to manage Vibrio. How do you manage Vibrio? There are different ways to manage Vibrio. First thing is very good pond preparation. You have to dry the pond, treat your water before stocking. Then stock seed that is having less Vibrio load. You have to check each and every batch of seed for Vibrio. Nowadays, Vibrio PCR is available. So if the CT value is low, better to avoid that seed. If the CT value is more, you can stock that particular seed. Then after stocking, you have to manage Vibrio by different management practices. First thing is you have to apply very high doses of water and feed probiotics. Take care of your pond bottom, clean the sediments with the help of central drain regularly. And you can also go for a plastic lining. Small ponds with plastic lining with central drain helps you a lot. What we have noticed practically in Andhra Pradesh is those farmers who has plastic sheet, plastic lined ponds, in spite of EHP, there is no white feces so far. So this clearly indicates if the pond bottom is clean, your Vibrio loads will be less, so that the white feces, all these are the triggering factors. So you can minimize all these triggering factors. And then feed is very good to feed for Vibrio also. So strict feed management is another practice to prevent white feces. And you have to stock EHP free seed. So before stocking, you have to disinfect your soil to take care of inactivation of all these EHP spores. And now we know that another anaerobic bacteria is also responsible. So this is the diagram of EHP spore. You can see this coiled one, we call it as polar flagellum. If you apply any chemical, if the polar flagellum comes out, it is no more infective. So if you look at this picture, this particular polar flagellum comes out and infects a new cell. So this is how it infects the hepatopancreatic cells. So once if the polar flagellum comes out, it is no more infective. So people tried several chemicals that help in polar flagellum extrusion. So this is how EHP infects. EHP injects its polar flagellum, sends its genetic material inside the cell. So new EHP spores will develop. The cell disintegrates, breaks out, and releases new spores. These spores, again, they infect other hepatocytes. So there are several chemicals were identified for the polar flagellum. So if you look at this soil treatment, first it was reported you have to apply burnt lime 6 metric tons per hectare. Immediately after burnt lime application, the pH goes up to 12. And again, after 2 days, it again comes back to normal. So then another, the latest research in 2018, there is a publication shows that 40 ppm of 65% bleaching or potassium permanganate at 15 ppm inactivates EHP spores. So this is very easy when compared to lime. Instead of carrying 6 metric tons of burnt lime, it is easy to carry few bags of bleaching and potassium permanganate. What we are doing right now is we fill half feet water, then apply around 3 bags of high power bleaching or 6 bags of low or normal 35% bleaching in the evening time, because bleaching is photosensitive. Then after 48 hours, we apply around 12 kg of potassium permanganate to the same water. We can use the same water, no need to drain. Same research shows that with 200 ppm formalin it's around 98% it is effective. And for hatcheries and nurseries, we can go for 3% sodium hydroxide. 3 kg per metric tons of sodium hydroxide water. For nurseries and hatcheries, we can use sodium hydroxide. So if you look at this, this is from the same publication of Mahidol University. With potassium permanganate, within 15 minutes, you can see complete inactivation. And with the formalin, it is not completely inactive. With bleaching, again, it is completely inactive after 40 minutes. Within 15 minutes. So this is farmers' experience. Some farmers from East and West Krishna districts. This is a WhatsApp communication. They tried both bleaching and potassium permanganate. So they're very happy with the results. They're able to get good crop in the next season. So when coming to the Vibrio prevention and control, so we have already discussed about this. Another important factor is blue-green algae. Higher the blue-green algae, more Vibrio. So it's always better to control blue-green algae by application of certain probiotics. Now, another there are several feed supplements. For example, phase biotics, organic acids. How organic acids work is they enter inside the cell by diffusion. They enter the bacterial cell by diffusion, change the pH in the cytoplasm. They inactivate the cell, and the cell will die eventually. Now, the latest concept is essential oil. There are several publications in the last 3-4 years on essential oils. There are natural oils. So how they work is they break the cell wall. So if you can use both essential oil and organic acid, it will be very easy for you. Essential oils, they break the cell wall of the pathogenic bacteria. Then the organic acids can easily enter inside the cytoplasm. So they kill the bacterial cell. So this is a new concept, essential oils. And this is a central drain. With the help of central drain, you can regularly pump out sludge, or you can get rid of all these dead streams, molting shells, which are very good for food for Vibrio. And if you are having a central drain, it is very important to have a aerator placement, proper aerator placement, in order to drive the sludge to the center of the pond bottom. And there are several publications on immunostimulants like beta-glucans, peptidoglycans, and some vitamins. They are not useful in controlling EHP. Why they are not controlling in EHP is, if you look at the EHP structure, it contains chitin. So chitin is present in shrimp. Chitin is present in EHP spore. So shrimp hemocytes cannot recognize EHP spore as a antigen, as a pathogen. They think it is their native because it contains chitin. That is why hemocytes are not responding. So how immunostimulants work? They stimulate immunity. They stimulate blood cells. But blood cells cannot recognize EHP since it contains chitin. So that is why immunostimulants are not helpful in containing EHP, but they are helpful in controlling bacterial infections. So this is how, suppose if there is a bacteria, hemocytes surround that bacteria, they wall off that bacteria. We call it as a nodule formation or granuloma formation. You can see here, all these are hemocytes entrapping the bacteria that enters the body. And then blue-green algae control. It was noticed that with high blue-green algae, white feces is more, and Vibrio is also more. It is more in high temperature. So yes, in Vietnam and all, the farmers are covering 50% of the area with the shade net to control high pH and blue-green algae. So this is how phase biotics works. Phase biotics, they attach on the bacterial cell wall. They send their genetic material inside the cytoplasm of the cell. New variants develop, and then cells will die, and new variants, new bacteriophages comes out and infect the other pathogenic bacteria. And coming to this is the last slide. Coming to the anaerobic bacteria, function of new anaerobic bacteria we were talking about, Propionogenium. So what we have to focus on, clean pond bottom. So if you have a central drain and a plastic sheet pond, you can regularly pump out the sludge, so there won't be any anaerobic environment for the anaerobic bacteria to develop. So that's what we can do, because right now we don't have diagnostic kits available for this anaerobic bacteria. So what we can focus is clean pond bottom. If you clean your pond bottom regularly, you can minimize the impact of white feces. I already told you in the beginning, with plastic sheet and central drain, we have not noticed white feces so far. So it may be due to clean pond bottom. And so in conclusion, you can also go for nursery to reduce the duration of the culture, so that the pond bottom will be clean, and reduce your stocking density based on the carrying capacity of your pond. Most of the time, Manoj talks about carrying capacity. Reduce organic load to minimize bacterial load. Strict feed management, as the waste feed and fecal matter is the feed for Vibrio once again. So sediment, clean sediment. And you can also go for high dose of probiotics and bacteriophages. And you can go for organic acids, but succinic acid, as per the literature available, succinic acid promotes this anaerobic bacteria. It is a carbon source for the anaerobic bacteria. So you can avoid succinic acid in organic acid formation. And the recent concept is essential oils to control vibriosis. So now Innovista has an essential oil product in this category. They are going to explain it in the next presentation. And we can also focus on functional feeds, or using less soya in the feed, so that the enteritis will be relatively less. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for the opportunity. If you have any questions, you can post it in the Q&A. So I'll be able to answer one by one at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ravi Kumar, for your great insights on white feces syndrome.
Welcome, sir. So I think I am on time.
Yes, very much, Doctor. Okay, so thank you very much again, Dr. Ravi Kumar. In fact, you have laid a great platform for me for the essential oils to start with. We come to our problem. 1 second. Yes. So good morning once again to all participants. My name is Dr. Shekhar Basak, and I am the founder, CEO of and Managing Director of Innovista Feeding Solutions Private Limited. Small introduction about Innovista. Innovista is an innovative specialty livestock nutrition and healthcare company based out of New Delhi, Hyderabad, and Kolkata in India. We are pioneers in novel feed additive concepts of world-class quality at affordable prices in the natural product space. We are a 9001-2015 ISO company, certified company, and all our manufacturing facilities are GMP Plus and FEMIQ certified. Innovista has built its position as a supplier of choice by exercising tremendous discipline in its product strategies, applying long-term vision, and abiding by ethical principles such as ensuring total transparency towards our clients in all business associations. We strive every day to ensure that our specialty product offerings live up to fully to your expectations of our esteemed customers. Talking about the current industry scenario, what I have gathered from talking to experts like Ravi Kumar and Mr. Manoj Sharma, India's shrimp export contracted 23% in calendar year 2020, primarily due to disease issues of white feces and also due to subdued demand in the export market because of lockdowns and disruptions in brood stock supplies from the US, which had impacted the domestic shrimp harvest cycle. In 2020, it led to a decline of 3.6 billion US dollars from the previous year's USD 4.7 billion dollars. The good part is the second wave of the pandemic has not led to stringent curbs on the movement of raw materials and stocks, so it was not so disruptive as the first phase. We hope to cross 8 lakh tons of metric tons of export this year. We have this very strong, the first mover advantage in essential oils. Innovista is a pioneer in product offerings of natural functional additives in the essential oil space. We are the first company to innovate this molecule with this product called turmeric oil. Turmeric has been used in various other dosage forms in the past, but for the first time, we have come out with this turmeric oil, which have been used also in poultry for more than 6 years now. And we are quite excited to bring this product in aquaculture. Also, the first ones to bring garlic oil extract, and I'll discuss more details in the further slides. We also have a product which is a blend of essential oils. So as I said, we are pioneers in essential oils, and all our products have got this, the strengths of essential oils. We are also coming out with eucalyptus oil and a few more products to come up. Talking a bit about the essential oil, the activity, as Doctor already mentioned in his previous slides, that essential oils break up the cell wall of the target cells. The antimicrobial activity of several oils has been attributed to the presence of its phenolic compounds. Like in thyme, we have thymol as a phenolic compound, eugenol in clove, and carvicrol in oregano. These are two tables which primarily shows the zone of inhibition of thymol, carvicrol, eugenol, and menthol compared to the antibiotics, the commonly used antibiotics. So you see, we have tried this inhibition against both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, E. coli, Salmonella, Pseudomonas, and Klebsiella. And you see relatively comparative results with these 4 oils compared to the regularly used antibiotics, which means to say that essential oils have got an antimicrobial activity, and they have been proven. Then you have the MICs, the minimum inhibitory concentration of carvicrol, eugenol, and menthol against the same 4 species of bacteria. And so which means that essential oils can actually work in a broad spectrum manner. It works against both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. We come to our quickly, in fact, I want to come to my first product, which is curcumol, which is again, as I said, it's a turmeric oil-based product. It's a purified turmeric oil fortified with curcumin and sesquiterpenes. So curcumin is the active ingredient of curcumol, and curcuminoids are plant alkaloids derived from turmeric that impart the orange hue, the orange color that you've seen in turmeric is because of curcuminoids. It provides that orange hue to the herb and also offers a range of medicinal properties to the turmeric plant. So from an Indian context, we know that, from our traditional knowledge, we know that turmeric has got several benefits, in fact, medicinal properties. But before that, I want to give you an insight of the turmeric produced in India. India is the largest producer and exporter of spices with 70% control of the 13,500 metric tons of turmeric, or the global oleoresin market that we have across the world. Indian curcumin production exceeds 80% of the global market. So that's a whopping number. 80% of the global market share of turmeric goes to, comes out of India. The global curcumin market is expected to witness high growth due to heavy demand in food and cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals having highest demand due to health benefits of curcumin being anti-carcinogenic and antioxidant. And one thing I need to stress upon, this point is that India is primarily the highest producer of spices in the world. So the extraction of essential oils that comes from the spices can be can be most competitive coming out of India. And we are primarily the highest. Not only I'm not just talking of turmeric, I'm talking of every other essential oil. Most of the essential oils that are coming out of India are the most competitive ones. And in terms of costs and in terms of production, in terms of scales also, we are the topmost in spices. So we have this strength in India, and India can be a major, export hub for essential oils. We come to the process flow chart of turmeric oil. It basically comes out from turmeric rhizomes, and it goes through a process of solvent extraction, wherein you get this oleoresin, the curcumin oleoresin, and further goes through process of crystallization, wherein you get curcuminoids and the MLR, and with further purification using a fractional distillation, you finally get the product, which is curcumol. Then we are fortifying it further with curcumin and sesquiterpenes. So from Indian context, as I said, from our traditional knowledge, we know that turmeric has got tremendous benefits. It is a very good antibacterial antiseptic. From our olden practices, we know that particularly in wounds, we used to apply turmeric. I mean, talking of our older generations, they applied a layer of, a topical applicant of, they used to topically apply turmeric into the wound, and which used to heal up very fast. So turmeric is a very good antiseptic and antibacterial. And turmeric is also a very good antiviral. It is a good anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and also antiprotozoal. This is the proximate analysis of the turmeric oil, which is curcumol. Just to highlight here, it shows an energy of close to about 9,000 kilocalories per kg. And the fatty acid distribution of curcumol is more or less similar to any other regular oils being used in the feed. So which is, primarily not different from other ingredients, other oils that goes into feed. I'll give you a snapshot of the difference between curcumol and the turmeric powder. Curcumol contains 6% curcumin compared to turmeric powder, which contains about 1.5% curcumin. So curcumol contains 4 times more curcumin, which means that it would be more effective compared to a generic turmeric powder. Curcumol is a processed form of turmeric oil fortified with curcumin and sesquiterpenes. Sesquiterpenes are another natural ingredients which help in absorption of curcumin into the cells, primarily because curcumin is not easily available in the cells. It is not bioavailable. So sesquiterpenes improve the availability of the bioavailability of curcumin into the tissues, into the cells. Only then you have the proper efficacy of the product. So turmeric powder may contain mycotoxins depending upon the moisture level in turmeric. During harvesting, there is a potential source of mycotoxin growth that can happen in turmeric powder during drying and storage. In comparison, curcumol is a pure turmeric oil derived from solvent extraction process of turmeric rhizomes, processed at very high temperature. Such high temperature destroys the fungus. Therefore, there is no chance of mycotoxins in curcumol. Curcumol gives the benefit of extra energy of 9,000 kilocalories per kg. So whereas turmeric powder is just, it doesn't offer such energy benefits. The difference between crude extracts and curcumol. Curcumol is a standardized formulation with curcumin and sesquiterpenes, and crude extracts are crude waste of turmeric extraction. Curcumol is produced by fractional distillation, which means that it is devoid of heavy metals and microbial counts, which is not applicable in case of crude extracts. So you find heavy loads of E. coli, Salmonella, mycotoxins, and also heavy metals. The viscosity of curcumol is low, so it is easily miscible with other ingredients in the feed, whereas crude extracts are very highly viscous, so do not mix with other oils. It is easily it leads to easy handling in feed mills because of the low viscosity, which is not the case with crude extracts. Curcumol is the FSSAI ready product. That's what we call it, because it basically follows all the norms of FSSAI. Pharmaceutical activity of actives, which is clear and distinct in curcumol. It does, and crude extracts are only used as a colorant in the feed industry. So summarizing on the benefits of curcumol, curcumol improves disease resistance by enhancing immune system. Curcumol increases growth and vitality. It maintains healthy gut, improves feed efficiency, kills gut pathogens, prevents bacterial, fungal, and viral infections. We come straight to the next product, Nativol. Nativol is an essential oil blend for antibiotic replacement in livestock nutrition. So what is Nativol? Nativol is a combination of 4 major oils: the oregano, cinnamon, rosemary, and marigold. So combiningly, they have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. They have antimicrobial. They improve the gut stimulation and digestive enzymes and reduces ammonia methane load in the environment. So it improves the ecosystem overall. So it favorably affects the characteristics of feed, improving the flavoring and feed palatability. It helps in boosting them. Affects the characteristics of animal feed with respect to microbial load. It helps in depletion of intracellular ATP by uncoupling of electron transport chain, reversing membrane ion permeability, results in osmotic balances, shelf life, or taste. And it affects the environmental consequences of large-scale livestock production, example by the reduction of ammonia excretion or methane production. So again, acts on the ecosystem. It favorably influences animal protein, animal production, performance, or welfare by affecting the gastrointestinal flora and the digestibility of feed. It also has an anti-protozoal effect. Jumping on to a third product, we have Alivis. Alivis is garlic oil extract. It's garlic oil extract with high concentration of garlic oil essential oil in both feed supplement and liquid forms. Garlic is a very broad spectrum antimicrobial. It has got a very good feed attractant effect. It improves the meat flavor and helps in lowering cholesterol. It has no side effect, no residues, and no cross resistance with no resistance and cross resistance with other feed ingredients. Our other products in the pipeline are Eucavis, which is eucalyptus oil, and many more to come, which will keep you updated in the coming days. So Innovista, we take pride in saying that we are change makers and game changers. We try building ecosystem and not just the product. We are constantly working to develop new entities and unique solutions. We strive every day to be different from the competition. So this is a campaign which we have been running for the past over a month, On the Move. A novel way, this campaign has been very close to my heart. A novel way of expressing our emotions that goes with the stakeholders of the livestock industry. It goes to say that since you as farmers have the spirit to deal with the obstacles of your life, since you believe in achieving greatness in spite of the pitfalls, since you believe in the better version of yourself and making your business better every day, let us join hands and be your companion to keep you moving. So that's how it's on the move always. At Innovista, we strongly believe in striking a chord with our customers. We believe in involving our customers into our business strategies, exploring areas of need, and surprising you always with product offerings and solutions that are consistently ahead of times. Thank you very much. And now I would like to call upon Dr. Manoj Sharma to take over.
Thank you, doctor. You can hear me?
Yes.
Because I was trying to use a microphone, but I think it's clear.
Yes, it is clear.
Let me share the screen. You can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
So thank you once again, Dr. Shekhar Basak, for such a learning program and aquaculture on the move. The theme is very good because we need to move on to progress in life. And first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Amarneni Ravi Kumar Garu for a very good, wonderful insight about what's happening in shrimp disease scenario. So that will give me a lead to discuss about my presentation, that shrimp farming, what next. So what next means what to do next in shrimp farming, because we know that India has done superbly well in last 1 decade, and we have been one of the top shrimp producers and exporters in the world. If you see the Indian fact file that India, as I said, the monodon era was from 1985 to 2009, and hardly we used to produce an average 65 to 75,000 tons of shrimp. But then came the great era of Vanami. We also call it as Vanami tsunami in our India. That last 2009 to 2021, we have seen huge growth, and we have even touched to 8 lakh ton production per annum, and we became one of the largest shrimp producer and exporter. But if you see the other dynamics, that 80% of our shrimp farmers are below 5 hectares. And the biggest limitation, what I see amid COVID, is that almost 99% were dependent upon export, and we hardly have any single, like maybe 10% not even for the domestic consumption. So if you could see shrimp production, we have seen from 2010, every year 1 lakh ton has been added, almost up to 2018. And then 2019 onwards, especially in the other states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, we have seen slowly there is a diminishing trend. And in last 2 years, amid COVID, the COVID has not done that devastation what the disease has done. So I totally agree with Dr. A.Ravi Kumar that today the shrimp farmers and the primary producers are facing the heat because of a lot of existing disease and the new emerging diseases. And you can clearly see 20% there is a drop in shrimp production in the country. And this is the slide which will really open everybody's eyes, that when you compare 2010 to 2020, with a mere seed production of 2.2 billion in 2010, we have produced close to 50,000 tons, but the success rate of the farmer level was 85%. But if you see in 2020, and gradually if you see, every year the success at the farm level has come down. And today, what has happened in monodon, same thing is happening in Benami, that the primary producer, the majority of farmers are hardly 50% success. And that really raises a lot of question about the shrimp farming industry and its sustainability. So, because I belong to Gujarat and I have done my 26-7 years in Gujarat. So, if you see the Gujarat, 1997 to 2009 was the era of monodon. And Gujarat state has emerged very good as in the per unit production per hectare and also the sizes of monodon. We will always used to grow 25-20 count monodon. And also during the Benami era, especially me, 2010 onwards, even because I was a big fan of monodon and always practiced monodon with that infrastructure. So I also tried doing Benami with the monodon 10 to 15 pieces. And Benami, the Tiger Way concept, which was designed by me, has really gained a popularity worldwide. So you could see Gujarat, the peak of the growth and the development was 2013 to 17. But 2017 onwards, there is a severe and a very deep decline in the production in Gujarat. So as Dr. Amar said very clearly, there are a lot of diseases which are damaging our primary producers, including less survivors, quality of seed, slow growth, very high FCR, and running mortality has become a very big damager besides white spot. But white gut, white feces, Dr. Amar Kumar has very well covered that, what is the etiology and what is the effect and what is the devastation. But I still think post-monsoon, still the biggest damager to our industry is white spot. Still 45-50% is damaged by white spot. So you could see overall, white spot is a 50% damager, and then EHP, white gut running mortality. And here I will try to say that even in Gujarat, we have seen even after 12 gram, 15 gram of Vanami, we see every molting successful. A lot of shrimps die in running mortality. And a lot of signs are like muzzle necrosis and also equivalent to the IMNV signs. And besides that, earlier days when we used to produce monodon, even with 2 ton, 3 ton, farmers used to make good profit, 100, 200 rupees a kilo profit. But in Vanami, the efficiency, the cost of production, also the margin has squeezed. Hardly there is a difference of 50, 60 rupees per kilo on any count, especially 40, 50, 60 pound farmers cannot make money. And amid COVID and the recent economical issues, the production cost, especially the feed and other raw material, has really gone up, even putting that strong pressure on the farmers and the increase of feed cost. So you could also see the fuel cost, everything has mounted on farmers, and the cost of production has gone almost by 15 to 20%, especially on 30 count and 40 count. So also the disease, as I said, and because we are dependent on completely on foreign market for the exports. So we have the World Food Safety norms, the certification, traceability, and the residue issue. So we cannot even use chemicals, especially antibiotics and others, to prevent our diseases. So we are purely on the mercy of good pond preparation and very strong biosecurity measures to produce our shrimp to the world standards. So what is the way forward? Because here I'm going to talk about my perspective as a farmer, because today I'm not talking to you as a scientific or an academic expert. I'm talking to you as a farmer because I'm an out and out farmer who has done a practice, whether it was a rise and fall of monodon or the rise and Vanami tsunami, or also now decline of Vanami. So what is the way forward? Because I also have a 200 hectare to handle. So what Manoj Sharma as a farmer is going to do in this challenging time? So first thing, what I have done, because everybody in Andhra Pradesh also from last 10 years talking about nursery rearing is very good to cut off the days in the culture. Because when you have 120 to 150 days open to pond environment, you are bound to get a lot of disease infection into the pond, leading you into losses. So reduction in the days is a very important factor, even to bring in the efficiency in the cost of production. And also when you have only 80, 90 days crop, then even the carrying capacity of the pond increases. So a lot of nurseries have come up in Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat also. During the monodon era also, I used to run nurseries and then shift 30 days TL to the pond. But what I have noticed in nursery rearing within the pond has its own limitation, because when you convert one of your pond into nursery, you are dependent upon the same water quality what comes to your reservoir and settlement. So if your creek has an infection, your creek has a Vibrio load, if your creek has a EHP, if your surrounding farmers has an infection, that you are also bound to get that infection into the nursery. So whether if you have a bad quality seed in the nursery, same is going to affect your culture pond. If your nursery seeds are very good, but you have infection in surrounding and the pond, it is vice versa going to contaminate the seed. So I have seen 1 year, 2 year, yes, pond-based nurseries has really worked wonderful, but they have also exposed to the pathogen. They are also exposed to that particular environment, and pond specific nurseries are not rendering the result. So I thought what to do next. What me as a farmer to handle 200 pond of my own. So what should I do? So these are some pictures of the nurseries within the pond. So I came up with an idea that in Navsari Ubrat, I have taken my 5 hectare and I invested almost a state-of-the-art facility to have a complete indoor facility. So complete isolation from the pond environment is the must to have a disease-free continuous supply of the seed. So I had a high-tech multiple indoor rearing system with a 7-step water filtration, which I'm going to take you slide by slide. This is the multi-phase shrimp project complex. It is completely indoor and completely isolated. Directly taking the CO of my facility, recent video of the facility. It is very, very important to have a complete disease-free environment. You could see 7-step water filtration. Directly, I have 4-step reservoir before water going to the RTU. You could clearly see a well biosecurity maintained reservoir water supply. You could see rapid sand filters at the facility. You could see slow sand filters and the facility to have a best of the quality water. You could see you could see the oxygenator. You could see the different cartridge filter from 30 ton per hour capacity to UE installed for complete disease-free water. You can also see a complete generator backup for continuous supply. You could see two generator with electricity facility and an automation panel. You could also see a complete high-grade algae indoor culture lab. And then you can see the indoor tanks, 50 ton, 16 tanks. You could see an outdoor algae. You could see an outdoor nursery tanks with 200 ton capacity. And this is well covered. You could see the tank sizes. You can call that we are also doing like a semi-biofloc because heterotrophic bacteria and organic slurries used to produce PL 20 to 25 to 30. This is very important to have a robust PL before transferring it to farm. So here the farmers, it is very important to look at the components of our cost of production. Today, if you see 30 to 40 count, even from pond preparation to repair maintenance, diesel, everything, 317 rupees is the cost in Gujarat. Definitely, Andhra Pradesh will be very less because here in Gujarat and the other state, the cost of seed is almost double. Andhra Pradesh, you get best of best hatchery, best quality seed, you get hardly 30, 35 paisa. But same seed which is coming to Gujarat because of the air freight is almost costing us double 60, 65 paisa. Andhra Pradesh, the electricity is just 2 rupees per unit. Whereas in Gujarat, the electrical tariff is 7.5 to 8 rupees per unit. So we have almost 60, 70 rupees extra cost. So in Gujarat, if you see, for our best to best cost of production, cost efficient is 307 rupees. So if you see the cost of production in the multi-phase, when we can have the reduction in days up to 30 or 40 days reduction, you could reduce by 80 rupees your cost of production. And here is a detailed comparison I have given in the normal pond when you try to rear the shrimp from PL 8 to PL like 30 count, 120 to 140 days, your cost of production will come 370 rupees. Whereas in multi-phase, when you try to put seed 30 to 35 PL into your pond, there will be a reduction of 50 days in your cost duration of culture. Then you can reduce your cost of production, especially with FCR and the water quality, even the aeration, everything efficiency will come and you can reduce almost 60 to 80 rupees. And very, very advantage for the farmers is the cost-effective disease-free seed at any time of the year. Because when you want to transfer the seed to your culture pond from your own pond nursery, the water quality parameters adjust is become very big issue because you have 8, 9 ponds and then you are trying to supply the seeds from a nursery. Every time you cannot adjust the water quality parameters in the nursery. So you bound to get some stress and then you lose a lot of survival with the pond. But when you have an indoor nursery or an isolated nursery with like 100 ton or 200 ton tanks, then you can match your water quality parameters well in advance, acclimatize it properly, and then supply it to the farm. So advantage is also during off seasons, especially in Gujarat now, summer is playing a very, very important role in the running mortality because if you see earlier, white spot was in post monsoon, and now today white gut, white feces, as Dr. A.Ravi Kumar has said, is coming in summer. So I will say there is a whitewash in shrimp farming, whether it is a summer, winter, or monsoon, whether white feces, white gut, or white spot is killing the shrimp farmers. So it is very, very advantageous for farmers to have, even with the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, the mandate is to have double the production, double the profit, double the exports. I think when farmers can have double the crop with your isolated nurseries, then definitely farmers can have a better profit. Here I have given some module of my last 2 crops calculations that when you have 365 days producing 40 count 2 crops with a stocking density 30 piece, you can easily produce 6.5 ton per hectare. And with a cost of production 270 and with better biosecurity and hardly any water exchange, you are bound to get at least very safety towards the disease. And even if you make only 100 rupees a kilo, 17 lakhs per hectare per pond can be easily earned through this kind of a practice. If you see the second module, if you goes for 30 count, from 40 count to 30 count, if you get a good chance, even you can earn up to 22 lakh rupees. And by all means, if your crop can go up to 20-25 count, then further you can add 25 to 30 lakh rupees profit. You could see some beautiful crop coming out of last 2-3 years at my own farm. You could see nursery seed, even within 30-35 days, they are attending 8 to 10 gram because of very good compensatory growth. But here, those farmers who are listening to me, I will tell you, there's a very, very important to have a proper brood stock. The fast growing brood stock will only give you a compensatory jump growth in nursery phase. If you're trying to get the robust seed, which has a very slow growth below 200 ADG, is not going to give you that compensatory growth. Especially, I have seen good stocks like SIS growth line or CP Turbo has given a phenomenal growth in nursery phase. Again, I'm repeating one very important point, that those shrimp farmers who are practicing nursery seeds has to go for a very, very pronounced protocol in feeding. If you do not feed the stunted growth, the nursery seeds into a very strong protocol, you are going to get a very slow growth. So it is very important when you are shifting nursery seed of 30 days, in next 30 days, you need to feed as per the demand, not as per the feed chart. So it is very important to take the compensatory growth, because here you see, if I am supplying the seed from my nursery 0.22 gram, so then it's showing 10 gram, 12 gram growth. For example, for 1 lakh seeding, which is going to attain 10 gram. So at least 1 ton feed has to be thrown in next 30 days for 1 lakh seeds shifting from the nursery. It's a very, very important for farmers to understand the feeding importance in the nursery reared seeds. And then again, because in Gujarat, a lot of farmers are even facing running mortality, because, as I said, it's a negative carrying capacity has impacted. And I think here again, I am trying to tell you a very important point, because A.Ravi Kumar is also there. What has really brought a tremendous setback to our shrimp farming industry in India is the sludge removing technique. Believe it or not, but the sludge removing technique has devastated shrimp farming areas, especially on the creek-based reservoirs, because sludge removing is a good technique to keep your pond clean. But farmers are practicing is that as a half truth, because when you have an EHP and when you have the deadly bacteria as which are responsible for white fecal, all that muck which is accumulated at your pond bottom, you are trying to siphon it and dump into the same creek. Imagine what kind of a transfer rate of the disease is going to the creek. As Dr. Ravi Kumar said, even EHP can be neutralized with pH 12. It has to be neutralized with 40 ppm of chlorine. When you are dumping these EHP pores, removing from your sludge into the same creek, can you imagine in the running crop who is going to use the 40 ppm chlorine, or even to use 6 ton, 10 ton of calcium oxide lime to neutralize that thing. So it is very, very important for farmers, those who are listening to me, is to understand what is the importance of sludge removing. You cannot dump the same sludge into the same water source where your neighbors, and again you are trying to take the water for your coming crop. So it is very important to have a separate sludge pit or a sludge removal holding tank. So every successive years you can clean it and then give to your adjoining farmers, even as a fertilizer. So it's very, very important. So what I have understand in last 3-4 years, for me, even Manoj Sharma, who is a good shrimp practitioner, is I'm failing to grow Vanami even up to 50 count or 40 count. So luckily, the Moana stocks has come to Gujarat thanks to Vaishnav Aquatic, that he has done a daredevil job and spent so much huge money to bring this Moana. So I tried this season Moana, because if you see the SPF Mona growth in this chart with conventional wild, in conventional wild, you will get at least 150 days for 27 to 30 count. But I have seen the Mona is growing at a speed of 500 milligram per day. It means 110 days, it will really growing with 10 piece token density to a 50 gram shrimp. So this is what I have recently stocked 40 ponds, because I knew I have been doing monodon for last so many years. So I stocked with 10 ponds with different variations from 20 piece stocking to 10 piece stocking. And there you can see the growth ADG, I'm always getting 350 above. So, but very good part of our monodon is that if your shrimp is becoming 30 gram in 100 days, so next 25, 30 days, it will going to double the size. So those farmers who have already reached monodon for 100 days, 30 count, they next another 2 molting, it is going to go to 20 count. So this is what I have done in now. And today, when I'm talking to you right now, maybe next week I will be harvesting all my 50, 60 pond what I've stocked has crossed to 20, 25 counts. You could see the beautiful crop coming out of the same pond. But here again, I would like to address to all the audience and the farmers, especially to Amar and A.Ravi Kumar. Even I myself was very skeptical about those ponds who are shown a continuous EHP or the white feces and the running mortality into the pond. But touch wood with the stocking of monodon in the same pond, but I have done a very well prepared pond, very meticulous prepared pond. And today you could see a wonderful monodon growing into the same pond. So last but not the least, those farmers who are listening to me and wants to go to monodon, I will say that those who are doing very good with Venami should not convert to monodon, because our country has developed almost 8 lakh ton production, and we have reached to 5 gram to 50 gram Venami market. And today, if you go back suddenly to monodon, that will also hit back, because we don't have that ready market for monodon. So I appeal, I request, I urge those who are listening to me that those who are doing very well with Venami should continue with Venami, because we are still dependent upon 95% to the export market. And those who are not doing good, especially Gujarat, Maharashtra, even West Bengal, Odisha, those farmers are failing to produce Venami, should only try hand with monodon. And last 5 years, I've been trying very hard to have a domestic market campaign, because our industry is a farmer-driven industry. Whether the exporters or the feed millers or even the hatchery or the healthcare products, mostly each and everybody is dependent upon a primary producer, that farmer, that if farmer is successful, the whole the chain of the industry is successful. If farmer is failed, the entire industry is failed. So whether it's the seafood exporters, the association of hatchery, even the feed millers, even the healthcare products, all companies, even I'm requesting to the thousands and thousands of technicians, those who are working in shrimp farming, should all come together to support farmers, to spread awareness, to help them get success and sustainability at farm level. Because if farmers are not success, the industry cannot be successful. And for farmers, I will also appeal that we need a very strong association, pan-India basis, that we could shell out some contribution to make our association very strong, that even today, the one slogan of National Egg Coordinating Committee, Sunday Hoya, Monday Rose Khai Ande, has transformed the poultry industry. Even Dr. Shekhar Basak has a very good experience in poultry industry. That one slogan has changed and transformed the poultry consumption, egg consumption in India. So I strongly believe that NFDB is there, MPDA is there, and a lot of farmers association is there. Even Feed Miller Association and Seafood Export Association can donate a sizable funds to advertise our domestic campaign. And I did my bit, because I know that farm-raised shrimp has a big potential in India. We have 1.3 billion population. Why when our mutton or chicken can be eaten in the institutional kitchens, even with the military or paramilitary force, so why our shrimp cannot go there? So this is what my venture and my thanksgiving to this shrimp farming fraternity or the shrimp farming business in India, because today, whatever Manoj Sharma is there, whatever the love the love and respect I have received from farmers and the industries because of the shrimp farming. And today, whatever shrimp farming I need to do for shrimp farming, I'm trying a small bit of it. So I started my farm-raised shrimp restaurant called Jingalala. with the concept of pond to plate. This is 2019. I started, and within 6 months, this lockdown has come, and definitely I faced a lot of issues in that. But touch wood, I have now today more than 6,000 clients regularly visiting to my restaurant, and a huge demand is coming from Mumbai, Pune, even Bangalore to start an outlet. And here it's a very small concept, hardly an investment of 80 lakh rupees to 1 crore, but you could see that we have designed almost 45 beautiful cuisines, and all from the regionals, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Maharashtra, everywhere, and also from Thailand, and Oriental dishes are there to where with it. And this is also amid COVID. We have started supplying 1 kilo, 2 kilo, or 5 kilo packs, farm raised shrimp directly to the door delivery through the restaurants or through the online marketing, and it has really done very good. Even I have seen a lot of Andhra farmers, especially Tamil Nadu, everybody has started contributing their good thing to the domestic market. So this is what I think the shrimp farming is going to be there in our country, and we farmers are the mainstay of the game, and we should be very responsible for doing the shrimp farming at the primary level. If we survive, the industry survive, and it is very important for shrimp farmers to be very adaptive, because we know that parallelly the another nation, another country, Ecuador, which is going to touch 1 million metric ton, and because Ecuador production and the module is low stocking density and highly efficient, and then they have an edge to give a very cost-effective shrimp to the world market. So next 5 years, it's very important for our farmers to produce at a very efficient level to support to the world market. And for last but not the least, the domestic market can really change the future of shrimp farmers in our country. So we should all work together to establish domestic market in the country. Thank you so much for this wonderful chance, Dr. Basak, so I can interact with my fellow farmers. And thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj Sharma, for giving us such a wonderful insights and practical knowledge on your total experiences that you have over the many years that you have worked in the shrimp and the aquaculture industry. So there are certain questions from our participants, and may I take those questions now? Both are experts. So there's a question from Mr. Mehul Patel. Could you please tell us opportunities in IT-related solution in new era of shrimp farming? This is, probably Dr. Manoj Sharma would be more apt to answer this.
Dr. Shekhar Basak, now there are a lot of people who've been last 10 years talking to me about the artificial intelligence, the apps, and everything, and how it can really support the farmers. Definitely, I do agree with that. When you have a first-hand data about your feeding program, of your water quality management and everything, it is definitely going to help the industry. But what everybody has to understand about India dynamics is that if you see that our 150,000 hectares has been divided by 50-60,000 numbers of the farmers. So the per capita holding is not more than 3 to 5. So the technology and the face value of the technology, or whether it is affordable to a small farmer, it is of a very paramount importance. Today, the technology is definitely going to aid and support farmers. But when you have a pond-specific probe, which is going to give you data and the first-hand information about all the water quality parameters, your feeding regime, and everything, A to Z, definitely is going to have. But what will be the cost? If the cost of that equipment is going to come in 50,000 or 60,000 rupees or lakh rupees, and the life is not more than 4-5 years, then I think that kind of advanced technology right now will not be helpful for farmers. Because when we talk about India and Ecuador, the two largest producing nations, we compare them like that. So Ecuador is doing so good in artificial intelligence. Their minimum, the smallest farmer is 500 hectares and above. So he has that capital to do that. But when it comes to comparing in India, the 80 to 90% farmers are below 5 hectares, whether they can afford this kind of technique and technology at the farm level, then only it is going to help the Indian farmers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj. There's another question. Sir, in my pond, too much yellow yellow feces. What can I do?
Sir, both white feces and yellow feces, the etiology is same. So initially it will be yellow in color because of the carotenoid present in the hebdopancreas. Hebdopancreas contains certain pigments called as carotenoids. In the beginning, it will be yellow in color and later it will all again turn to white. It's both same. White fecal matter and yellow fecal matter is same.
Okay. So what about the bile acids? It can control white feces? That's the question.
So there is so much of literature support for bile acids, but practically it is not that much helping the industry.
Please suggest how to avoid bile green algae in nursery. Also, a request to help with best probiotics for good frog development in nursery ponds.
I think Manoj has a product in that categoji. It's better, Manoj, if you can speak.
Okay. No, because thank you, Amarnani, doctor. See, blue-green is the biggest nuisance. We've been for me, Dr. Amarnani Kumar is always a brother and a second-hand information. Whenever I feel doubt about any such things, I call him and don't hesitate to ask him. See, one thing what we always discussed, the mother of all water quality farmer, whether other believe or not believe, but I think Amarnani, Dr. Ravi Kumar, he believes that blue-green algae is the biggest nuisance, and especially when you rear the shrimp in low salinities, less than 10. So basically, what happens when in Andhra Pradesh and all, when then you have a canal driven, then you water flown from the paddy fields and agriculture, you want to have a lot of rich phosphate water, and that gives a very strong kick, nitrate, nitrogen, and phosphate for blue-green algae. So last 25 years, I've been working with numerous products, and especially the all natural. And luckily, last 4-5 years, I've been achieved a fantastic result by developing one good product called BG-Nail. And it's all natural bentonite combination which can absorb all the phosphate in the pond. And within 3 to 5 days, you are 100% you are going to get rid of the blue-green algae. So those who are listening to me can try a hand on that, and it's all natural product available with me. Thank you so much.
Okay, there is another interesting question. What is the scope of phytogenics in aqua domain? Dr. Ravi Kumar, if you just want to compliment or
idea on phytogenics.
Dr. Manoj.
See, there is, because, one thing, Dr. Shekhar Basar, you need to understand, even those who are listening to me need to understand, there are more than 350 odd companies in our India marketing all healthcare products, and each and every company has a conviction to say that their product is working. But what to me as a farmer and what I have seen the world over, there is not a single country on this globe where shrimp farming is done. I have not been invited or visited to see that. But what my experience suggests that wherever there is a pond production has increased beyond the carrying capacity, you are going to get a lot of problems. For example, in Gujarat, what I have seen, when the area was very virgin, the new pond was added. Even by throwing a 1 kilo flour, jawari ka atta, gehu ka atta, you throw it, then also people say that is a probiotic and shrimp has grown. But now in last 4 or 5 days, especially last 2 years in Andhra Pradesh, where I have seen farmers are harvesting and the heaps and heaps of dead shrimps in the bottom because of running mortality, but nothing, no product is working. So I think when you have a positive carrying capacity in your pond, everything works. And the moment you compromise on your carrying capacity, even the amrit, even the ambrosia will not work, not be able to say. So it is very important for farmers and the technocrats, even the doctors, even the dealers and distributors, because they are playing the biggest role. You have to accept in this country that 90% of this farmers' success really comes from the dealers. because they are the point of transferring the inputs to the farmers. If they are meticulous, they are responsible, because I'm very sorry to say this is not a right forum, but most of the dealers in our country, they look for the margin and the profit margin. So we need to inculcate the kind of a discipline among the dealers and distributors that we should able to make farmers success. Then only our business will survive. You cannot have a one season business or two season business or run. So everything, phytogenic genomics, everything will work when you are within a pouring capacity. But you see, COVID has really given us a very good opening that if your body is having a proper immunity, even this COVID cannot harm you. But once you have a bad body or a very not so immune body, then even with a slight infection of COVID, you are going to die. So it is very important for farmers, dealers, doctors to understand what is the carrying capacity of your particular pond and what kind of culture module you should adopt for your success and sustainability. That is more important than what kind of product is going to help. No product is going to help you when you are under your negative carrying capacity. I think I want your comment on this, Ravi.
Yeah, you are right, Manoj. I do agree with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
There's one more question from for Dr. Manoj. What's the cost of advanced nursery unit for 7 lakh seed? I have planned to set it up in November month, so it will be fully ready and operational by February 2022. This is a question from Amara Sahu.
The Amara Sahu, I want to tell you that if you are running a very advanced nursery, it only a 7 lakh, 10 lakh cycle, I think the cost of production will be very high. See, for me, my unit is nothing less than a sophisticated hatchery. I have invested almost 10 crore seed. So 10 crore rupees. So, but my one cycle, I produce close to 15 million seed. Even with that 50 million seed I produced, I get a capex, depreciation cost of 15 paisa per seed. So when you have a very high infrastructure, then you should also have a parallel scale to produce the seed. I think if you are investing in a good nursery, even with a small nursery, if you want to have in an isolated area, I will strongly recommend to have a better quality water filtration, especially the ozone and ultraviolet and RSP is very important to have a disease-free water. And that is definitely going to cost you 10 to 12 paisa extra with your capex.
Thank you. Question from Mr. Rajashekharan to Dr. Ravi Kumar. Thank you for the nice information on EHP, sir. What is the systemic method of treating the water before pumping into the grow-out pond?
Okay, it depends on your water source. Some farmers are directly using bore water. Some farmers are drawing water from the creek. Depending upon your source, depending upon your risk. Suppose if you draw water from creek, there is a risk of pathogens. There you need to disinfect. Otherwise, on the other hand, if you're drawing water from a bore well, there is a chance of hydrogen sulfide and iron. So you have to treat for both hydrogen sulfide and iron. In some cases, ammonia may be there in bore water. So depending upon your water source, you have to decide how to treat your water. If you're drawing creek water, filtration, disinfection, filtration, settlement, disinfection, and then you have to use it. If you are using bore water, depending upon your ammonia levels, depending upon your iron levels, there is a separate treatment protocol varies from water source to water source.
Okay. There's a question from Kranti Gadde. Is DIV, decapod iridescent virus, detected anywhere in India? What are all the diseases that we have to look out for here in this country?
Sir, DIV, so far it is not reported in India. So India is free of DIV virus. It's a DIV is due to Vibrio, not a virus, sorry. DIV is a bacterial infection. DIV is not reported in India so far, first thing. As far as post-larva is concerned, first thing you have to look for white spot virus, EHP, IMNV primarily.
A question from Venkataramana. Any technology is available to monitor shrimp growth in grow-out ponds by using water camera?
Some, there are some. It's available now. You can take the length and there is a length weight relationship.
but we also need to see the what cost it costs. We have many sophisticated technology, but whether it is the face value or whether the smallest farmer can adopt.
There is a question from Satish Bodapati, which is exclusively for me. Actually, he says, essential oils, is your product in liquid form or solid powder form? So the answer is yes. We have both in liquid and powder forms and granular forms also. Any trials conducted with the essential oils product in aquaculture? Trials are ongoing. We have been doing certain trials for the last few years now, and the trials will continue. So in future, we are going to associate with both the experts here and as well as with with the industry to conduct more trials. Is anaerobic bacteria useful of P. venami? If yes, then how to develop in the pond? A question from Somya Das.
The anaerobic bacteria which we are discussing is the causative agent for white fishes. So we don't need it.
Again, a short question from Ravi Prasad. How do you acclimatize your shrimp at pond bought from nursery pond?
Manoj ji, can you answer it?
See, what particularly I have seen, the difficulties when you have a pond-based nursery. Generally, when you have a one pond nursery and the rest 7-8 pond as a grower pond. Generally, what happens is impossible for creek-based farmers to maintain the exact salinity of this 9 pond. So when you are transferring the seed to all that 9 pond with a variation of 3-4 salinities and different pH, there is going to have a stress in shifting, and then that's where the farm-raised nursery, they're going to give you very less survivals with the stress in the shifting. But that's why I completely stopped the farm pond-raised nursery and then shifted into isolated. Here I have a 200 ton tank and 250 ton tanks. So whenever my pond is ready, I try to match both the figure at par. That if the pond is having 15 ppt, I can raise and acclimatize the entire seed at 15 ppt and then transfer the seed into 1000 or 2000 liters impact tanks and only exact to that numbers. So 1 million or 1.2 million seed is reared into one individual tank. So if I have a 3 tanks with the same 12 to 14 ppt, I acclimatize the tank into that, keep it the seeds for 2-3 days, and then transfer the seed very late in the evening or very early in the morning. It has given a wonderful result, even 96 to 100% HAPA count, even after 24 hours of shifting.
Thank you. A question from Kandimala Mallikarjuna. Can I know where I can get Monodon seed in India?
There are two.
Yeah, right now there are only 2 people. I think one is Vaishnavi Aquatech Gujarat, but they are running hatchery in the East Coast. And also I think Aqualma is there, Unibio. They got this permission. So I think you can reach them, and but be in advance, because 2 to 3 month advance booking is already there.
Okay. A question from Thota Saiteja. Having problems with high pH of 8.8 to 9 in ponds, please suggest some remedies or medicines to overcome this.
So there are 2 regions for high pH. One is high plankton, maybe blue-green algae. And the second one is high alkalinity and low hardness. So we have to diagnose whether it is due to high plankton or it is due to high alkalinity and low calcium, especially. So if it is high plankton, you have to
important as it is. If you have turbidity, you should have a proper settlement pond. Even Gujarat, as Ravi said, Dr. Ravi, we have very turbid Gujarat coast, but that's where we have a series of settlement pond. So 4th or 5th pond, settlement pond, and use your very superman water into your reservoirs. That's very important.
a question from Sri Mahalakshmi Hatcheries. Are we going to see SPF tiger culture taking over Venami very soon? What do you think? Are there any new species coming up soon?
Sir, no new species is expected at this moment. Tiger, there is every chance, there is every possibility, there is requirement also. So tiger is likely to go up slightly, but as Manoj said, we have to look for the market also.
See one thing, Dr. Amarneni, everybody as a farmer, they never understand one major thing. If your pond condition is very positive, you don't need to change any species. See, because we are actually in doing so much thing. When Dr. Amarneni also talking about, he is such a disease expert, and he is such a Samaritan worker that he provides his immense knowledge through the videos, through the conferences at free of cost. So such a good knowledge at free of cost is also not trying to motivate the farmers. See, it is very, very important for farmers to understand how they can keep their water quality, especially in the pond bottom, very clean, adhering to the positive carrying capacity. Even if you have a fantastic pond condition, you can continue doing Vanami, you can continue doing monodon, everything. But if your pond bottom is very bad and your area is contaminated, your entire creek is been within the negative carrying capacity, how diverse you want to do? You want to diversify to the new shrimp, you want to go to the indigenous or green blue shrimp, nothing is going to work. That's very, very important. First of all, farmers primarily to understand what is the best way and protocol to keep your pond always in a positive capacity. And then 99% you will not have any disease. But the moment you are coming into negative carrying capacity, and then anything, even the slightest DO drop will kill you. So it is very, very important for you to understand that you want to have a good immunity, or the entire shrimp cycle you want to have with ventilation. So it is not good. When you have a ventilator, you are going to bound to die. How strong you do the medication, how strong you hospitalize it, nothing is going to work. So it is very, very important for the primary producer of India, those who are listening to me through this program, to have a very good pond management, very strong pond protocol, and also evaluate, audit your pond, what is the best carrying capacity to hold the biomass. That is the key factor for success.
Many more questions coming up. In fact, I think we are running out on time, and if there are more questions, you can mail it to us. We'll put those questions back to our experts and get you those replies.
Yes.
So thank you so much, both my experts who have taken so much time, and also to the great audience. You have been real good audience, and your active participation has really been very heartening. So in fact, Dr. Manoj, your last slides on the sumptuous plates of shrimps has actually stimulated everybody's taste buds. Unfortunately, we are in a virtual mode, or else we could actually get into a lunch after this.
We need to really focus, and all the farmers should come together. What India is really lacking today, from this program, I like to appeal to all my farmers. We need all India Farmers Association to be very progressive and very strong. Unless and until we have a united, strong platform, we cannot even take what we want, even from the government, even the policies. If we are very strong at farm level, we can change the fortune of this country and the farmers. This is what I have a very clear message, take-home message for each and everybody. We need a strong bonding among Indian farmers. We should not bifurcate ourselves from Maharashtra, this post, that post. We all are farmers. We all are doing our contribution to this great world. Today, 38,000 crore of industry is because of these farmers. And today we should all come to unite. Whether those who are listening to me, you can discuss this later, and then we can have a common group to make our association very, very strong. And that is the need of the hour. So, though if you have a strong association, we can fight for each and everything. Even we can transform our industry, even if we have a domestic market. Imagine 135 crore people, if they eat only 1 kilo shrimp per year, we need 10 million ton. We can have a double the production and double the income. So this is a very, very big thing for our country to parallelly we invest in our country for the domestic market. Imagine we have 20,000, 50 crore outlay for Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Why don't we row a 10 crore, 20 crore rupees campaign? Why don't we approach a very good film star or a very good sports person to campaign for our shrimp to the domestic market? I think that is going to transform everything in the country overnight. And this is what the country needs right now, is a strong domestic market campaign.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj. Thank you, Dr. Ravi Kumar. And there was also some request of putting this the presentation on link on the YouTube link. We'll do that immediately after this webinar is over. So I want to thank again the participants, the speakers, and my technical backup team who have worked for the last few days to make this webinar successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ravi Kumar Garu. Thank you,
everybody. Thank you.